When you walked into this room, when you pressed play on this speech, something inside of you was already calling for change. You didn't come here by accident, you came here because a part of you knows it is time to rise. Maybe you've been carrying battles no one sees. Maybe you've been living with dreams that you keep postponing, waiting for the right time that never comes. Or maybe, just maybe, you've been hiding your greatness behind fear, behind doubt, behind excuses. But let me tell you something with absolute certainty. Today is not just another day. Today is a turning point. And I want you to hear me clearly. If you give me your full attention, if you stay with me through every word of this speech, I promise you will leave with more than motivation. You will leave with conviction. You will leave with a decision burning in your soul, a decision to rise and never look back, because this is not about me speaking. It is about you awakening. And if you stay until the very last second, you will understand why your struggle had a purpose, why your pain has been shaping you, and why now, right now, is the moment to arise and claim the life you were created for. So I ask you, not politely, but urgently, listen, lean in, give me your focus, because what I am about to share has the power to rewrite the way you see your life. And once you hear it, you won't ever go back to who you were before. When I talk about awakening the fire within, I'm not speaking about something vague or distant. I'm speaking about a decision that lives inside each one of us. Every single one of us has that quiet, persistent voice that whispers in the back of our mind when we're about to give up, when we're tempted to settle, when we're convinced we've reached our limit. That voice says, "Get up, you're not done, you were made for more than this." Too often, we ignore it. We push it aside because fear feels louder, doubt feels stronger, and comfort feels safer. But deep down, you already know that the life you want, the dream you hold, is not going to be handed to you. It's going to require you to rise, and the moment you choose to rise, everything changes. The truth is, many people go through life waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan before they make their move. But here's the reality: perfection doesn't exist. Waiting will only keep you where you are. The fire you're searching for doesn't ignite when conditions are perfect. It ignites when you make the choice to act in spite of imperfection. That choice is the spark, and once it's lit, nothing and no one can put it out unless you allow them to. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need approval to rise. What you need is courage, and courage begins the moment you say, "I refuse to let my circumstances define me anymore." Think about the times in your life when you've been pushed to your breaking point. You thought you couldn't endure another step, another failure, another disappointment. And yet, somehow you did. Somehow you found strength you didn't even know you had. That wasn't an accident. That was the fire within you refusing to be extinguished. You see, life has a way of pressing us down so we can discover the power of standing back up. The fire doesn't just give you energy, it gives you identity. It reminds you that you are not weak, you are not ordinary, you are not meant to live a life of compromise. You are built to rise, and every single time you do, the flame grows stronger. But here's the part most people miss. The fire within isn't waiting for someone else to light it. No coach, no mentor, no friend, no family member can give it to you. They can encourage you, they can guide you, they can support you, but they cannot do the rising for you. That choice is yours alone. And as intimidating as that sounds, it's also the most empowering truth you'll ever embrace. Because if it depends on you, then nothing outside of you has the power to control your destiny. Not your past, not your failures, not even the opinions of others. When you awaken the fire within, you take full ownership of your life, and that is when transformation begins. I want you to imagine for a moment the version of yourself who has already risen. The one who refuses to settle, the one who shows up with passion, the one who walks into a room and doesn't have to speak for people to feel their presence. That version of you exists. It's not a fantasy, it's not some distant dream. It's who you are when you stop silencing your fire and start feeding it. And every day that you choose to rise, you step closer to becoming that person. You may not see it instantly, but over time, your choices stack up, your resilience builds, and your life transforms. Of course, rising is not easy. It will demand sacrifice. It will ask you to give up comfort, to push past resistance, to walk into uncertainty. But what is the alternative? To stay where you are? To let life pass by while your potential goes untapped? To wake up years from now realizing you never gave yourself the chance to become who you were created to be? That is far more painful than the temporary struggle of rising. The fire within you is not meant to keep you warm in your comfort zone. It is meant to propel you forward into growth, into greatness, into a life that others only dream about. There will be days when you feel tired, when the world tells you to settle, when quitting feels easier than fighting. Those are the days that matter most, because on those days the decision to rise is not just about reaching your goals. It's about proving to yourself that nothing can break you. The fire within thrives on persistence. Every time you rise when it would be easier to quit, you feed the flame. And that flame becomes your power, your identity, your legacy. So today, I want you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not someday today. Decide that you will no longer wait for permission. Decide that you will no longer let fear control you. Decide that no matter what comes against you, you will rise. Because the moment you awaken that fire within, you will discover that everything you've been searching for has always been waiting on the other side of your decision to stand up, to push forward, to arise. That moment is now. Life is not meant to be easy, and deep down we all know that. But the difference between those who rise and those who stay down isn't the absence of struggle. It's how they choose to face it. Every obstacle you've encountered, every heartbreak, every closed door, it wasn't there to defeat you, it was there to strengthen you. Too often, we see our struggles as punishments, as proof that we're not good enough or not meant for something greater. But what if the opposite is true? What if your struggles are not proof of your weakness, but evidence of your potential? What if they are the very tools shaping you into the person capable of carrying the weight of your dreams? Think about it for a moment. The people you admire, the leaders you respect, the heroes who inspire you, they didn't get where they are because life handed them an easy path. They got there because they faced storms, they walked through failures, they endured pain, and instead of letting those struggles break them, they allowed them to build them. That is the secret. Struggles are not setbacks, they are setups. They set you up to discover strength you didn't know you had, patience you never practiced before, and resilience you thought was impossible. They carve out the discipline, the focus, and the grit that comfort could never teach you. When life tests you, it is not asking, "Are you strong enough?" It is giving you the opportunity to become strong enough. That is the beauty hidden in the challenge. The weight you feel pressing down on you is the same weight that will shape your strength if you refuse to quit. Just like muscles are built by resistance, character is built by trials. You cannot expect to grow without being tested. And you cannot expect to lead, to succeed, to create impact if you haven't walked through your own fire. We've all had moments where failure knocked the wind out of us. Maybe it was a dream that didn't work out. Maybe it was a relationship that broke apart. Maybe it was a plan that completely collapsed. In those moments, it feels like the end. But here's the truth, it's not the end, it's the beginning. Every failure holds within it the seed of growth if you're willing to look for it. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What can this teach me?" you shift the entire meaning of your struggle. Suddenly, what felt like a curse becomes a gift. What once seemed like a roadblock becomes a stepping stone. It's easy to feel defeated when you're down, but let me remind you, being down is not the same as being out. You're still here, you're still breathing, and as long as you're here, you have a choice. You can stay down and let the struggle define you, or you can rise up and let it refine you. That choice is always yours. The question is, which version of yourself are you willing to meet on the other side of this? The one who gave up when it got hard, or the one who refused to surrender and discovered their strength? Every struggle you face has the power to unlock a deeper part of you. It reveals your endurance. It exposes your courage. It forces you to break through limits you once thought were permanent. Without struggle, you would never know the strength you carry. Without pain, you would never know the healing that comes after. Without failure, you would never know the triumph of standing back up. So instead of resenting your struggles, start respecting them. Respect them for what they are making of you. Respect them for the power they are building within you. And let's be honest, life will not stop testing you. Even when you overcome one challenge, another will come. But if you train yourself to see struggles as opportunities, each one will only make you stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than before. The storms will still come, but you'll walk through them with a different posture, a different fire, a different faith. You'll stop being afraid of challenges and start seeing them as invitations to grow. That is how you transform struggles into strength. So when life pushes you down, don't stay there. Don't waste your pain by letting it break you. Stand up and use it. Use it to build your resilience. Use it to fuel your determination. Use it to remind yourself that you are far stronger than you ever imagined. Because every time you do, you are proving that your struggles were never your end, they were always the path to your strength. And that is why, no matter how hard it gets, you must rise. Motivation is powerful, but it has its limits. Motivation can spark your energy. It can push you forward in the beginning, but it isn't enough to carry you through the long journey ahead. There will be mornings when you don't feel inspired, when your body aches, when your mind tells you to stay comfortable. And in those moments, it is not motivation that will keep you moving forward, it is discipline. Discipline is the force that bridges the gap between who you are today and who you want to become. It is the quiet, consistent commitment to show up day after day, whether you feel like it or not. The truth is, most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence or even opportunity. They fail because they rely too heavily on their feelings, and feelings are unreliable. Feelings fluctuate. One day you feel unstoppable. The next you feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. If your life is guided by how you feel, you will live in circles, starting and stopping, beginning but never finishing. Discipline frees you from that cycle. It doesn't ask how you feel. It demands what you committed to. It anchors you when your emotions try to pull you away from your vision. Think about the great achievements in history, the moments that defined generations, the individuals who changed the world. None of them got there by doing what they felt like doing. They got there by doing what was necessary consistently, even when no one was watching, even when no applause was given, even when the results seemed invisible. Discipline is not glamorous. Discipline is not loud. It is the daily grind, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifice of comfort for the sake of purpose. And while others sleep, while others quit, while others make excuses, the disciplined rise again and again until they become unstoppable. We often admire the results of successful people without understanding the discipline that created them. We see the end product, the achievements, the recognition, but what we don't see are the countless hours behind the scenes, the hours of repetition, practice, and effort that seem to go unnoticed. Discipline is built in those unseen hours. It is built when you choose to keep moving forward despite the lack of instant gratification. It is built when you tell yourself, "I made a promise to my future, and I intend to keep it." And here's something important. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about consistency. It's about showing up more often than not. It's about refusing to let one bad day become a bad week, or one misstep become an abandoned journey. Discipline doesn't demand that you never fall. It demands that you rise every single time you do. Over time, that consistency builds momentum. And momentum creates transformation. Discipline also teaches you control. It teaches you to master yourself, to rule over your impulses instead of being ruled by them. Every time you choose discipline over feelings, you strengthen that control. You learn that you don't have to give in to laziness, to procrastination, to distraction. You learn that you are stronger than your excuses, stronger than your comfort zone, stronger than the voice that tells you to quit. That is true freedom, not being a slave to your feelings, but being guided by your vision. I know discipline doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment. In fact, most of the time it feels difficult, it feels inconvenient, it feels like work, but discipline always pays off. Always. The results may not come instantly, but they always come eventually. And when they do, they bring a satisfaction that far outweighs the temporary pleasure of comfort. Comfort gives you relief for a moment. Discipline gives you fulfillment for a lifetime. There will be days when you want to stop, when everything inside you says, "This is too much, I can't do it anymore." Those are the days when discipline matters most. Because discipline is not about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary. And every time you push yourself on those days, you build a stronger version of yourself. You prove that your goals are more important than your excuses. You prove that your dream is worth the sacrifice. You prove that nothing, not even your feelings, has the power to control you. So if you want to rise, if you want to achieve the life you dream of, do not wait for motivation to carry you. It won't. Let discipline carry you. Let it be the foundation of your success, because discipline will take you places that motivation never could. Discipline will build the future you deserve. Discipline will make you unstoppable. And that is why, no matter how you feel, you must rise. When we talk about rising, it's easy to think only about ourselves, our dreams, our struggles, our victories. But the truth is, the impact of your rise goes far beyond you. Every time you choose to rise, you create a ripple effect. You show others what's possible. You give them courage to believe in their own strength, their own dreams, their own ability to overcome. Rising is never just personal. It is powerful, it is contagious, and it becomes a legacy that outlives you. Think about the moments in your life when you felt inspired. Maybe it was watching someone achieve something you thought was impossible. Maybe it was hearing a story of someone who refused to quit, no matter how many times they were knocked down. Those moments sparked something in you. They lit a flame of hope, of belief, of determination. That spark didn't come from words alone. It came from someone else's choice to rise. And now you have that same power. You have the ability to become that example for someone else. We often underestimate how much influence we carry. You don't have to be on a stage. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be recognized by millions to make an impact. Your life, your choices, your persistence, it matters to the people around you. Your family sees it. Your friends see it. Your children, your coworkers, your community. They are all watching not just what you say, but how you live. And when they see you rise, they are reminded that they can rise too. This is why your rise is so important. It's not just about achieving personal success, it's about lifting others with you. Because there will always be someone who is ready to give up, someone who feels too weak, someone who thinks their dream is too far away. And in that moment, your story, your example, your rise could be the very thing that changes their mind. You might never even know it, but your resilience could be saving someone else's dream. There's a responsibility that comes with rising. It's the responsibility of leadership, not leadership defined by titles or positions, but leadership defined by influence. Every act of discipline, every act of persistence, every act of courage positions you as a leader to someone else. And leaders don't just rise for themselves, they rise for those who follow. They rise because they understand that their journey is not only about their own breakthrough, but about creating a path for others to walk on. And here's the beautiful part. When you lift others, you don't lose anything, you gain, because when you rise and others rise with you, your impact multiplies. You begin to see that your success is not measured by what you achieve alone, but by what you inspire in others. That is a success far greater than wealth, recognition, or awards. That is a success that lasts, because it lives on in the lives you've touched. So don't rise only for yourself. Rise for the people who are watching you quietly, the ones who are too afraid to speak of their dreams, but are desperately searching for a reason to believe again. Rise for the ones who need proof that their struggles can be turned into strength. Rise for the ones who need to know that pain does not define the end of their story. Rise for those who will follow in your footsteps, even long after you are gone. When you carry this perspective, your challenges take on a different meaning. You stop seeing your struggles as just your own. You start realizing that overcoming them might give someone else the courage to overcome theirs. Your persistence becomes bigger than you. Your victory becomes a light in someone else's darkness. That is the true power of rising. It transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. And when you understand this, giving up is no longer an option, because rising is no longer just about you. It's about the countless others who will rise because you chose not to quit. It's about the people you may never meet, but will influence with your story. It's about the legacy you leave behind, not one of ease, not one of excuses, but one of courage, resilience, and impact. So rise with conviction, rise with strength, rise with purpose, because the moment you do, you're not just changing your life, you're changing lives. And that is why, no matter what it takes, you must rise.